Many times when you're asked to write about something that you've read, a teacher will want you to put in quotations or quotes from the material that you've read in order to prove some statement that you're saying in your essay. When that happens, you use a colon before the quoted passage that you're copying. He reminded me of one of Winston Churchill's best short quotes. So here's Winston Churchill's quote. So we need a colon here before we start quoting. He reminded me of one of Winston Churchill's best short quotes. The nose of the bulldog has been slanted backwards so that he can breathe without letting go. End quote. Notice that the period, the end mark, is enclosed within the quotation marks. And then this parenthesis here tells us when Winston Churchill made this quote in 1905. You can use the colon punctuation when you're preparing a bibliography or footnotes. Here I have some informational parts on the side here, volume and page, if you're noting chapter and verse, title and subtitle. So this is informational. This is actually how your bibliography would look. So let's say you've taken a quote from the MJT Snooze journal. Okay, so we've got 34 would correspond to the volume, and your colon would separate the 163, which would be the page number. So if you wanted to go back and actually see the full quote or the context of the quote, you could look this newspaper or journal up in, resource it, and then you could find it easily in volume 34 and on page 163. Let's say you were quoting a chapter and verse of the Bible. Here I've chosen Job. That would be chapter 1. Here's your colon, verse 21. And the title and the subtitle of an actual book, Teach Your Child to Learn, A Parent's Guide. Here is your colon, separating the title from the subtitle of this book, which is Simple and Tested Techniques. Notice the slantedness of this writing. This is to mimic italics. There's an icon on your keyboard, your computer keyboard, that you can actually touch, and whatever font you're in, that the computer will slant it to mimic the italics. In short works like newspapers, magazines, and in shorter books, you would use italics instead of the underline. A longer book, like the complete works of Shakespeare, would be underlined due to the length of the material. There is an exception to the rule of italics or underlining, and that is the Bible. This is why I chose that. So I could show you that this work is not underlined, or it does not take quotation marks or italics around it. It's one of the exceptions. You may have seen the colon used in digital time, separating the hours from the minutes. Here we have 11:20 p.m. If you are addressing someone maybe at a business or a political figure or something, you would say, "Dear Sir," with a colon, or "Dear Madam," if you know that the person that you're corresponding with is a woman. Here we have "Dear Professor Higgins." That would be a more formal correspondence, so a colon is used after that. And this is in the greeting portion of a letter, of a more formal letter.